Welcome back to Session 2 of Family Matters. I really appreciate you taking the time to prepare for your role as leader. If your group is rotating leaders and you're leading for the first time, I applaud you for your courage. God is here for you. So am I, but God is the one that you really need in your corner. Also, please check out our Leadership 101 in the back of your study guide. If you did the open chair exercise in Session 1, some people may be joining you this week. Make a point of welcoming them. They may be the first to arrive because the others don't care if they're late. When the meeting starts, ask them to introduce themselves and say how they heard about the group. Have everyone else say their names and one thing that they got out of last week's meeting. This is a great way to give people 10 reasons why they should stay in the group. And be sure to remind people again about the open chair at the end of this meeting too. Jesus wants us all to have the same heart that he has for people who aren't connected to God and his family. He has a dream to find a shepherd for every one of his sheep. You may be thinking, we already have 7 or 8 people, maybe even 11 or 12. We don't have any more space in our living room. But there's a solution for that: subgrouping. That means that instead of making one big circle for the whole meeting, you have people gather in smaller circles of 3 or 4 or 5 after the teaching segment. You can have 2 circles in the living room, or one goes to the dining room and another to the family room. If you don't want to subgroup for the Bible study, at least do it for the prayer time at the end. That way, people can share more. The more vocal people won't dominate as much, and the quiet people will get drawn out. When people feel heard, they feel loved. When they feel loved, they're more likely to come back. If they're in a circle of 15 people and they're not heard, they're probably not going to come back. And even if they've never prayed in a group in their lives and want to pray silently, it's less scary in a circle of 3. Next, I want to talk to you about ways to involve more people in owning the group. One is the prayer and praise sheet in the back of your study guide. Ask for a volunteer to keep track of the group's prayer requests and answers to prayer. If you're going to subgroup into smaller groups for prayer, simply have one person in each circle pass on the circle prayer requests to the one who's keeping the sheet for the whole group. That way, everybody knows what's happening with everybody, but you can pray in smaller circles. A second way to involve people is to ask for a couple of volunteers to plan a group social, maybe a potluck meal, or you could meet at a restaurant, or have a barbecue with everyone's kids joining in. Who are the group members who love to throw parties? Tap them to handle this role. The final thing I'd like you to do is to be willing to pass the baton to another person to host and lead the next meeting. This is a great way for you to see the study through the eyes of people who have a different mix of gifts and temperament from you. It will also push their growth into fast forward as they step up to meet the challenge. That's it. Thanks for listening to all this. And again, remember that God said, "Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you." Have a great meeting.